This is Geek News Central. My name is Todd Cochran, coming to you from the New Media Production Studio. There we go. Apple. I got a bug. What's going on here? Test. There it goes. Let's try that again. For those of you that, wow, what's going on? Test. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. Oh, this is not good. You never know. Hang on. I got to go check something. So much for that being a smooth start to the show. It drove me crazy. Sorry. Let's go ahead. Let's try it again. This is Geek News Central. My name is Todd Cochran, coming to you from the New Media Production Studio. The lead stories are: Apple wants to make finding unwanted AirTags easier. NASA says the Starlink 2 satellites may cause issues for other space projects. Factory contamination may drive up SSD prices. And the FCC is going to be looking into digital redlining. That stories and more. I want to welcome you to episode 1585 of the Geek News Central podcast for Thursday, February 10th. This show is sponsored in part by GoDaddy.com and listeners just like you. Great deals from GoDaddy can be found at geeknewscentral.com/GoDaddy. And you can support this show today at geeknewscentral.com/insider. Hey, I want to give a warm welcome to all the new listeners of the show. Thank you for being here. Make sure you get over to the website and check it out. Once you're on the website, follow or subscribe to the podcast via your absolute favorite podcast app. And of course, you can get subscribed to our newsletter as well. That's found a little bit further down the page. The newsletter contains everything I'm going to talk about during the show. It's basically a copy of the show notes, and you get that delivered directly to your inbox for historical purposes when you're looking for information that we've covered in the show. It's a great way to stay connected. Of course, we want you to get subscribed while you're over there. And you can join our chat room at geeknews.chat or our Discord server. Those links are in the show notes. You can contact me very simply via email, geeknews@gmail.com, on Twitter @geeknews. So those are the great two places you can connect on social, or follow me on Facebook. Of course, all the partner shows are linked at geeknewscentral.com, whether it be the new media show, the progear.guru website. We've got the Podcast Legends show. We've got the GNC Week in Review. All that's available at geeknewscentral.com. Of course, this show is supported and sponsored by the longest running continuous sponsor of a podcast. That's our good friends at GoDaddy. You can go over to geeknewscentral.com/GoDaddy and save. We want you to save when you're over on the website. Definitely check it out, whether it be 30% off new product purchases, $4.99.coms. And let's check right now. And we'll double check and see if that $1.99 deal is still going at GoDaddy. It is. See, they told me they were going to turn that off, and they haven't. So $1.99 a month economy hosting for the first year with a free domain. Again, $1.99 a month for economy hosting. $1.99 a month for economy hosting for the first year with a free domain, or $2.99 a month for managed WordPress hosting for the first year with a free domain. Of course, you can always get a free trial of GoDaddy Website Builder, your choice of personal, business, or business plus plans. All those codes are available over at geeknewscentral.com/GoDaddy. You can save money by using my code. Share them with your friends, family members, people that you know. Link to this page from your Twitter account, from your social media. Send people over here It helps the show. Anytime a new customer signs up for GoDaddy, it's just like an in-kind donation to the show, just like you writing a check. We want to thank GoDaddy for being a longtime sponsor here of the Geek News Central podcast. So basically, surprise, surprise, I got my car back. Everything is repaired. It's on the road. I've test drove it, put it on the highway. Seems to, they've got everything, knock on wood, is good. So about $4,500 worth of damage for the accident I had on Christmas Eve hitting a deer. Sorry, been just absolutely sucking down water today like crazy. So I expect a few interruptions. It's just dry, and I must be a little bit dehydrated. But anyway, I got my car back, and it's just been a big week here. Head down. It's a big week next week for my company. We're releasing our new statistics platform that we've been working on for a while. So I'm excited about that. We've got beta testers in there now that's ringing it out. I'll be meeting with some of them early next week to get their pass down. And then we're going to cut it loose to the entire community. And it's a big update. And we'll see what happens. But a lot of things planned over the next month. A lot of moving parts. So anyway, I'll keep you advised here. So I'm not going to waste too much time on the regular stuff today. Of course, I got a little stuck at the beginning here of the show tonight getting in when we started live because I had a scratchy noise in my ear and can't have that doing the show. Hey, going to lead the show off today with Apple's trying to make unwanted AirTags easier to detect, and the company will release a precision finding feature later this year. So, what was supposed to happen is anytime you have an AirTag that is not yours, that is pacing with you, your phone is supposed to tell you, whether you are on Android or if you're on an iPhone. Should not matter. You should get that notification. Well, it appears a lot of people are being tracked. People are doing stupid things. And they are going to make it easier to find these. In the months since Apple AirTags have been on, there have been stories of bad actors using lost item tracker to stalk people. And in the immediate future, and here's the crazy part, when you buy these, they register them to you. So if you use them for something nefarious and they find the AirTag, law enforcement can go back and determine who AirTag that is. So, don't be doing this. And at the same time, the company's going to update its AirPods Pro, AirPods Max, and third-generation AirPods, as well as third-party devices that can connect to its Find My network so you don't get an unknown accessory detected alert on your iPhone. Instead, iOS will more clearly indicate you're traveling with a pair of someone else's AirPods to reduce confusion. And they've also updated a support documents website dedicated to unwanted tracking to include additional info on what you should do if you believe someone is using its device to stalk you. The company has additional links added to organizations like the National Centers for Victims of Crime and who believe their safety may be at risk. And so, I've used my AirTags a lot. I have on each of my key rings, I have 2 key rings. I have an AirTag. One of my bags, actually most of my bags, my computer bag has an AirTag stashed in it. A bag that I carry on a daily basis has an AirTag stashed in it. And the other day I walked out of the office, got home and was patting my pockets down, and a set of keys that I thought I had with me were not with me. I wasn't quite sure where I had left them, considering I had been bouncing around and taking my coat off a couple of times. And sure enough, they were right here at the office, and I was able to determine that by just logging into the Find My device and locate it. So worked out really, really well. And it gave me peace of mind that the keys were here at the office and not dropped at B-Dubs or someplace like that. So that is an update that's coming. We'll be looking forward to that, and probably a lot of people will as well. NASA is saying that Starlink 2 Gen 2 may cause problems for Hubble and asteroid detection. NASA explains concerns to the FCC and urging more research and careful deployment by SpaceX while not actually telling them they can't. But they've outlined its concerns that Hubble may be affected, and what's turning up now is Hubble in 8% of all images, a satellite's in front of it that's passing through Hubble's field of view. Some Earth detection or asteroid detection systems that are here on Earth often have streaks in them because of satellites. And it just goes on and on. There's a lot more. NASA sees problems for launch windows, of manned launch windows, with 20 additional Starlink antennas at 300 Starlink satellites in the 328 to 360 kilometer range. It's below the ISS and the common phasing altitude for ISS visiting vehicles. They're basically saying that they're going to have to be more careful in maneuvering, and they're trying just to avoid collisions. And, of course, more risk of debris generating collisions. A collision risk can't be reduced to zero, never will be, but it just goes on. And it's not just SpaceX. It's other folks that are putting stuff up as well. And we know that SpaceX has 30,000 satellite pending approval, or in addition to the 12,000 SpaceX already has a license for. And we know that SpaceX has 1,900 Starlink antennas in orbit already. So think about that. They're going from 1,900 to 12,000. 12,000 approved, and then on up to 30,000. That's a lot of objects that are of significant size. So time will tell where this goes. I'm afraid that Starlink's going to get shut down before they get started here. So we'll keep our fingers crossed and hope that they're able to mitigate the challenges that NASA's concerned about. Well, article over Ars Technica is talking about factory contaminations affecting at least 7 billion gigabytes of flash memory. 2 factories used by Western Digital and Kioxia have been affected. So apparently, according to a short Western Digital press release, a contamination issue has affected at least 6.5 exabytes of flash memory, which works out to be a bit under 7 million terabytes or 7 billion gigabytes. And that's a lot of NAND that's out there. Suddenly unavailable for SSDs, phones, memory cards, USB drives. And an analyst speaking to Bloomberg suggests the final total of the lost capacity could be much as 16 exabytes. And the contamination could be compounded by other factors like recent COVID-19 related shutdowns, one of Samsung's Chinese NAND factories as well, real or perceived scarcity of SSDs or other components could also lure scalpers. So if you have SSDs you need to buy, I would get them now. We know that countries are investing billions of dollars in additional chip making capacity right now, but that's a long lead time to build those factories. And so chip shortages are supposed to last throughout 2022. But after 2022, things might start looking better. But I just bought a Raspberry Pi for an experiment I'm doing with some stuff. And it was delayed in getting to me, not necessarily because of this, but it was an interesting delay when normally I would have expected it to arrive very, very quickly. So we'll see what happens with this contamination. I wonder what kind of contamination it was. They don't go into any detail. And probably one of the most interesting articles today that I kind of, and initially I read through it, I'm like, okay, understand. Who are you, the FCC is launching a task force to address digital redlining. The agency must come up with new rules by November 2023 to address discrimination by broadband companies that disproportionately leave behind communities of color. But it goes beyond that. FCC Chair Jessica Rosenworcel on Tuesday announced the initiative will involve several FCC bureaus. And basically, the task force will be working on creating policies that will combat the discrimination people face in accessing broadband on where they live, income level, ethnicity, race, religion, and national origin. And I think this is a big thing. We've been talking about this on this show for a while. Your zip code should not determine access to broadband. Well, I'm going to tell you, my zip code, some of it has broadband and some of it doesn't. So it's more deeper than just a zip code, because a mile and a half from me, the folks that have nice high-speed wired broadband are on the same zip code. So it's really about geographic area as well, and not to mention income levels and all that. So it is curious. We'll see if they addressed this for everyone that's affected. The pandemic has proved internet is just like water or electricity. Gotta have it. So we'll see where this leads. How many of you have heard or know of communities based upon color, skin, black communities, if there are issues with getting broadband? I hadn't thought about it, to be honest with you, but it appears this is a concern because, again, income level, ethnicity, race, religion are all on the table here to be looked at. I guess redlining is a term I really was not familiar with, because in the early 20s, yes, the 1920s, in the 20th century, 1930 banks started developing maps to withhold loans for high-risk, undesirable inhabitant types. While the practice by banks and other financial institutions in real estate has been outlawed, forms of this discrimination still exist. Even Amazon has been accused of not serving poor, predominantly black neighborhoods with its prime same-day shipping plan. The decades of redlining represents a form of systematic racism that denied generations of black communities the kind of opportunities many other Americans enjoy, experts say. So we'll see what they come up with this. Hey, one thing I do want to mention, and I didn't have it in the show notes today, is Hawaii, the neighborhood that I used to live in. Amazon has bought a parcel there to basically build a Amazon warehouse in Honolulu. So that's a first, because everything's came from the West Coast up to this point. So I guess the market's gotten big enough where they're going to build a warehouse there. Also, Starlink lost about 40 satellites due to a solar storm on its last launch. They never made orbit, and it have basically they were slowed down enough. This is amazing that just a little bit of slowdown was enough to push them out and deorbit for this solar storm that happened. So I guess Starlink's going to have to watch and make sure that they're not hit by a solar storm again when they launch their next round of satellites. But yeah, 40 burned up that were lost. That's pretty crazy. It really, really is. Disney Plus may raise prices after September, Disney CEO has been hinting at. But we don't have to start paying more until Disney Plus starts releasing additional shows and movies every week. So sometime in October, we may see the price jump. Apple has broken ties with 12 suppliers over concerns about conflict mineral violations. And the refineries and smelters were dropped because they refused to confirm their ore wasn't being used to finance armed conflicts. So the tech giant filed the results of its latest conflict mineral audit with the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission. The third-party report indicated that a dozen companies that mine tin, tantalum, tungsten, and gold, known as 3TG, and the Democratic Republic of the Congo and neighboring countries were all released from their contracts because they refused to participate in the audit or did not otherwise meet the requirements for responsible sourcing of minerals. Well, I'm going to tell you who is going to buy those minerals. It'll be China. China will buy those minerals. Don't be, these companies are not losing. China will be in there with their big fat checks buying this all up. Not saying we should, but that's who will buy it. If you've run an Indigo campaign in the past and you're known to be reliable by Indiegogo, campaigners will now get a trust proven badge for for those that are trusted Indiegogo money raisers. So it's interesting. As part of the Trust Proven program, Indiegogo is reviewing the histories of active campaigns, and they're organized to determine if they have a solid track record of fulfilling perks, positive feedback from backers, and proven ability to manage campaigns well. So we'll see. And of course, it doesn't mean that they automatically will fulfill perks, but be proven that they have in the past. Zoox, Z-O-O-X, robotaxis are already mingling with the public on semi-private test courses. So what's that mean? Semi-private test courses. Well, they built dozens of custom-built robotaxis, and they're testing them on semi-private courses in California. We have dozens of them, not hundreds yet, but it's very far into the double digits. Disclosure, which came on a wide-ranging interview with me, suggests that Amazon subsidiary is ramping up its preparation to begin testing its electric robo-taxis on public roads. Zoox currently tests Toyota Highlander vehicles equipped with its self-driving system in San Francisco, Vegas, Foster City, California, and near its headquarters, and recently expanded testing in Seattle as well. Those vehicles all have human safety drivers behind the wheels. So, all right. Well, news on that. Chan Zuckerberg Initiative, that's like, that's the arm of the Zuckerbergs that they give away money, have announced tens of millions in funding for climate tech. Carbon removal technology are all the rage. So they pledged $44 million in funding for solutions to climate change. Most of the money goes towards the efforts to capture carbon dioxide, building up to dangerous levels in the atmosphere and oceans. The strategy have attracted billionaires like Zuckerberg and Gates, as well as tech companies. Carbon removal technology have recently received millions in funding from big tech. So lots of money's been going around for this. And we know the oceans soak up a quarter of human CO2 emissions, which is to their own detriment since it turns that water more acidic, dissolving crab shells and so forth. But UCLA is also using funding to develop new technology to pull CO2 out of the air. And most advanced techniques so far call for direct air capture, pretty energy intensive, since very high heat is used to separate dilute the amounts of CO2. So you're creating more CO2 to capture CO2. So we'll see, but lots of money to try to come up with something efficient. We talked about the Google legacy G Suite customers being affected by, basically shutting down the free offering. I probably got a half dozen of those myself, so I'm going to be losing some G Suites. Microsoft is offering 60% discount to you for a year. That's a little cheeky offer, but I would not move so fast. Google is indicating they may do something. We will see. Amazon Music signs exclusive deal with How I Built This. Amazon Music and Wondery get the show a week early. So this is a podcast. And this is the thing that's kind of funny. How I Built This is a long tail podcast. You can listen to it at any time. And they're paying money to get it a week early. Do people really have that much interest in this show to go get it a week early on a specific platform? If I got paid to have my podcast on a platform, a week early for this show would be critical because no one will listen to it when it's a week late. It would never work for this show because it's time sensitive. But Amazon Music trying to catch up with the Spotifys of the world and spend money on How I Built This. Congratulations to him for scoring a win there for him. Tesla is under fire. Tesla's factory is racially segregated workplace, California state agency alleges. Tesla slams the lawsuit that alleges misconduct at its Fremont factory from 2015 to 2019. Said they've cleaned up all the bad characters, and they even paid money on some lawsuits that they had. And Tesla says, hey, following a 3-year investigation, during which DFEH is missed supposedly to protect workers, has never once raised any concerns about current workplace practices at Tesla. Rather, the lawsuit appears focused on alleged misconduct by production associates at the Fremont factory. It took place between 2015 and 2019. Tesla said it will ask the court to pause the case and claim that despite repeated requests, the DFEH has declined to provide Tesla with specific allegations or factual basis for its lawsuit. Tesla also claimed the lawsuit is an attempt to generate public publicity. Wow. So they said it has always disciplined and terminated employees who engage in misconduct, including those who use racial slurs or harass others in different ways. And recently wrote on additional training program that reinforces Tesla requirement all employees must treat each other with respect and reminds employees about the numerous ways they report concerns, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Fremont factory has a minority workforce and provides the best paying jobs in the automotive industry to over 30,000 Californians, according to Tesla. So, well, they're all out doing their PR campaign. So we'll see what happens here with this. Obi-Wan Kenobi gets a release date, when and where to watch. Well, for the first time since 2005's Revenge of the Sith, Ewan McGregor is returning to the role of the beloved Jedi Master Obi-Wan Kenobi. Fans adore his character. He's unbelievably handsome. He hates flying. He has a tendency to get in bar fights involving a lightsaber, and he's still got more adventures ahead. The 6-episode miniseries, did I pronounce that correct? A mini series. When is it going to release? It's going to hit Disney Plus on May 25th. While you're watching, you couldn't hurt to reread Matthew Stover's Revenge of the Sith novelization. So we will see. It's coming on May 25th. I'm looking at my travel schedule. It's going to start cranking up in March, April, 2 trips in May. It's going to be wild. Going to be back on the road again. So might miss this. Disney Plus outshines Netflix with 11.8 million new subscribers in Q1 and a strong forecast. So they reached 129.8 million subscribers as part of its Q1 2022 earnings release, and said it's still on track to reach 230 to 260 million subscribers by 2024. The current administration has unveiled a $5 billion plan for EV charging infrastructure. States can apply for the funds to create an alternative fuel corridor on U.S. highways. So what the goal is to build an alternative fuel corridor created by 40 states along interstates, highways across the country to oversee the effort. Why only 40 states? The $5 billion program will come from the new National Electric Vehicle Infrastructure Program, and they want to have a EV charging station within 50 miles of you, no matter where you are. The aim of the charging networks is to reassure potential EV buyers they'll be able to charge their cars while traveling. Americans need to know that they can purchase an electric vehicle, find convenient charging station when they're using interstates and other major highways. The White House is pushing for a charging station built domestically. To that end, it touted the company called Tritium that plans to produce up to 30,000 DC fast chargers per year in Tennessee, creating 500 local jobs. The government will also direct 40% of funding to underserved and rural areas. The largest funding level goes to Texas, California, and Florida, the 3 most populous states. So again, it's about this trying to go all electric. The electric grid can't handle it. I've had a friend who just built a building who really didn't know he was going to be impacted, but when he went to get power for it, they said, nope, we don't have enough power in this area to support your commercial building. Build a building that can't be powered. Have you ever heard of such a thing? It is happening. There is lack of electricity in our grid already. And when someone builds a building, not just thinking, hey, I'm going to call for hookup, and they say, well, no, what do you do? It's pretty remarkable. It really, really is. I don't know if that's part of a normal building process to check and see if you can actually get power or not, but you would assume so. You build in a house in a neighborhood, you think you can go get power. That's just kind of an afterthought, right? Well, I don't think so anymore. YouTube is adding new ways for creators to make money with shorts and shopping. A lot of new features in the works for 2022. I'm not going to go into the details because very few people are actually able to monetize their stuff on YouTube. And I know I watch a lot of YouTube channels that are monetized, but this one isn't. I've never really put a lot of work into it, obviously. But they're expanding ways people can monetize their content. It's always a good thing for those that are authorized. Why not open it to everyone? Tesla again is recalling more than 578,000 vehicles over pedestrian warning sounds. The boombox feature risks overpowering vital safety alerts. So apparently, you could play this boombox while you were driving. That violates a federal safety rule, requiring a clear, audible sound when EVs and hybrids are moving at speeds below 18.6. So apparently, they've got this boombox feature that lets you play music when you're driving, external to the car. It's supposed to be reserved for when you're parking. So I don't know a lot about this, but they're going to do an over-the-air update. Another recall, 227,000 EVs are having issues with defrosting problems. This is the third or fourth recall here in a week. So it's Model 3, Y, S, and X. It's basically the windshields may not defrost quick enough. Condition which affects select cars can result in diminished visibility, increase the likelihood of a crash. A Senate bill would add friction to social media postings. It's called the Social Media Nudge Act. Would also prompt the FCC to study social media addiction. The full text of the bipartisan bill, which was co-authored by Senator Amy Klobuchar, Democrat of Minnesota, and Senator Cynthia Lummis, Republican of Wyoming, hasn't been published yet. The Social Media Nudge Act, according to reports, if it were to become law, the National Science Foundation and National Academy of Science, Engineering, and Medicine would look into content-neutral ways to add friction to sharing things on social media platforms. The legislation would prompt the FTC to codify the findings and possibly require social media platforms to implement them. The overarching goal, listen to this, the overarching goal is to impede the spread of misinformation and other harmful materials. Now, one person's, last year, this has come up like 3 times. I did an interview with a Reuters reporter today. Last year, if you were to suggest on a social media network, specifically FACEBOOK, that if you did that, shared a comment about the Rona coming from a certain lab, that would have been labeled as misinformation. Well, now, a year later, guess what? It's not misinformation anymore. So I think that there is challenges here. Anytime the government gets involved in trying to curtail speech, we'll see where this leads. Apple patches a new 0-day exploit to hack. Apple patches new 0-day exploited to hack iPhones, iPads, and Macs. So this security release tracked is basically someone can have a successful exploitation bug allows the attacker to execute arbitrary code on iPhones, iPads, running vulnerable versions of iOS and iPadOS after processing maliciously crafted web content. So if you have an iPhone 6 and later, iPad Pro all models, iPad 2 and later, iPad 5th generation and later, iPad Mini 4 and later, and iPod Touch 7th generation, and Macs running Mac OS Monterey, you're going to want to do your update. Just run the update anyway. MoviePass is announced it's going to return this summer. And its buffet-style business model hasn't survived the relaunch, But they're making a comeback, and we've learned some of the details about the latest incarnation of the cinema subscription service. Co-founder Stacy Spikes is back at the helm, says MoviePass 2.0 is being built on a Web3 framework, and will have a kind of virtual currency. Members will have credits they can use for tickets for themselves and friends. Unused credits roll over the next month. You'll be able to transfer them to other people. There will be tiered plans, but no pricing release. The new movie apps will show you how many credits you have and available screenings at theaters. Credits work differently during peak and off times. A Friday or Saturday showing might cost more credits. You'll be able to reserve specific seats at some MoviePass partner theaters. Spike said there'll be ways for people to earn credits through the apps via pre-show experience. In other words, watching ads. To make sure you're actually watching them, the app will employ facial recognition and eye tracking. So we'll see. And they're looking for investment. And, time will tell where this goes. Laid off Peloton employees reportedly crashed the new CEO's introductory meeting. Peloton laid off 20% of its workforce. They've lost like $40 billion in valuation. But apparently there was a little bit of a issue. People got invited to the town hall that shouldn't have got invited. People that had been fired. And it turned into a big mess. And they terminated the all hands early. Oh, man. Well, everyone was, stuck at home. Now they're going back to the gym. Firefox 97 has arrived, and there's a bunch of changes. I'm not going to go into them. But if you've got Firefox and you use it, you'll probably get an update. It's not a major one. It's just a minor overhaul. So we'll see where this leads. If you're into designer watches, Tag Heuer's smaller luxury smartwatch will set you back $1,800. That's crazy. My goodness. I wonder if it's running on their own operating system. What operating system does it run? The watchmakers introduced the Connected Caliber E4, a revamp that brings both modern components and expanded lineup. It doesn't say what operating system it's running. Probably running its own. Oh, the new Connected will run Wear OS 2 out of the box, but it will be Tag Heuer's first to support Wear OS 3 when the free upgrade arrives. The company's updated sports app now offers guided workouts as well as performance tracking. But yeah, 1,800 simoleons to get you a Tag Heuer smart watch. Is that really a smart thing to do? Smartwatches have a life to them. They don't last forever. A good quality regular timepiece that you'd pay that kind of money for will last forever or a lifetime or until you run it over with a car or something. A piece of digital smartwatch will not last forever. $1,800? My goodness. Over in computer world, Apple wants to know why you hate Safari. An Apple evangelist and developer advocate took to Twitter to talk to users about what bugs them about Safari. Where some were nice, others were open about their distaste for the browser. And this is interesting. The gal named Jen Simmons, she says, everyone in my mention saying Safari is the worst. It's the new IE. Can you point to a specific bug and missing support that frustrate you, inhibit you making website apps, bonus points for links to tickets? Specifics we can fix. Vague hate is honestly super counterproductive. So it goes on and on. People were like, we've got support tickets that have been out for 2 years. Stuff's not getting fixed. Doesn't support all kinds of stuff. So they were not nice. I'm not a Safari fan either. I understand we want more choices than just a Chromium-based world. But, you got to make a browser that competes. OnePlus, the new affordable Nord phone, is launching on February 17th with a headphone jack. So Nord 2 takes the best parts of what? The Oppo sub-brand is advertising that Nord 2 takes the best parts of Nord 2 and puts it into an even more affordable package. Features including a 65-watt fast charging, a 3.5 millimeter headphone jack, and support for up to 1 terabyte of micro SD expandable storage. And what's it going to cost? OnePlus hasn't given any additional indication of price for the new Nord 2, but for reference, the original Nord CE cost $299 pounds and 329 euros. So I don't know anyone that has a OnePlus phone. I've never even seen one. Twitter misses earnings expectations across the board and authorizes a $4 billion in share buyback. And the release is the first under new CEO Parag Agrawal after Jack Dorsey stepped down. So earnings per share was 33 cents, adjusted versus 35 cents. Revenue of $1.57 billion versus $1.58 billion. Monetizable daily active users was 217 million versus 218 million expected. The company provided revenue guidance for next quarter ranging from 1.17 to 1.2.7 billion, while analysts expected about 1.26. And Twitter's also announced a new $4 billion share buyback program. Half that will be an accelerated share repurchase, the remaining being repurchased over time. So, anyway, Twitter is continuing to make money. The estate of Robin Williams and George Carlin sue Pandora over comedy rights. Spotify's influence streaming service faced dispute with comedians. These estates have sued SiriusXM, Pandora, for allegedly streaming the comedy legends' jokes without full license. The late comedian's representatives claim Pandora only has license to stream the recordings, not the jokes themselves. And it supposedly doesn't have any copyright. Williams' estate wants $4.1 million in damages for copyright infringement, while Carlin's estate is seeking $8.4. Comedians Andrew Dice Clay, Bill Engvall, and Ron White also have made complaints asserting Pandora hasn't provided a fraction of a penny for their work. The state claims Pandora confessed to having improper licenses in an SEC filing between 2011 and 2017, predating SiriusXM's acquisition. In those filings, service warned investors it couldn't guarantee the company would avoid additional licensing costs from rights groups for spoken word comedy. Well, so get the cash register out there, SiriusXM. If you're an Android user, Samsung is promising updates to Galaxy S22, S21, Flip 3, and Fold 3 for up to 4 years. So they want to continue to provide updates and not make your phone unupdatable as fast as they normally have been. So 4 years on that. And finally, Warner Media and Discovery got their U.S. government's approval to create their new media giant. So they now, whatever this is going to be called, I think it's going to be called Discovery. They're going to roll all the Warner Brothers stuff into it. Will be one of the biggest media companies in the world. Pretty incredible if you ask me. All right, did have something come in. Bob says, hey, Todd, this won't be good. SpaceX loses 49 satellites due to solar storm. Yep, talked about it earlier in the show. Really, what my delay is not because of 40 satellites getting deorbited because of a solar storm. It's the hardware. They can't produce enough hardware right now. It's slow in getting that out. So, Bob, thanks for sending it out. I got a few people on Facebook that commented to me as well over this. So, we'll see. All right, folks, if you got comments about today's show, it's real simple. It's really, really, really simple. geeknews@gmail.com, geeknews@gmail.com. Send me a comment about the show, what you love, what you hate, what you want me to do different. Like to hear from you. We're on the march now to 1,600. See how long it takes us to get there, but 1585 is in the can. I'm going to get out of here. geeknews@gmail.com is the email address. Thanks for being here. Thanks for staying subscribed. Thanks for being part of the family. We'll see you next time. Everyone take care. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.